welcome into the Sportsocracy here on a Power Rankings Tuesday. It is the Sportsocracy, always coming to you live from the Ingles Studio. And, of course, we are heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Not subscribed to the YouTube channel just yet? It's not too late. You can always do that. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link, subscribe to the channel. You get the alerts whenever we go live. And, of course, that'll get you into the chat with us each and every day. It is a Power Rankings Tuesday, and, we've got some teams that are climbing up the Power Rankings, one specifically with a green tint to their uniforms.
J-E-T-S, Jets.
They're going to be much higher on this list than you probably want them to be, but Jeremy's going to make the case.
And they should be.
He'll make the case for the greatest quarterback of all time.
Future Hall of Famer Mike White. Give him the respect. You put that respect on his name.
We had Mike White Appreciation Day yesterday, and this is just Mike White Appreciation Week.
Oh, no doubt. Future Hall of Famer, New York Jet Kurt Warner, greatest quarterback the Jets have had since Joe Namath, and that will be the end of that.
How much shakeup did we have at the top of the Power Rankings? Well, you'll just have to hang with us and find out.
There's a great separation in the NFL.
Yes.
I usually, we him and haw along about, the 25th best team. They're better. No, we're not doing that today.
No.
We got a mock draft coming out. Bad teams. You're going to get your just desserts there. Here, we're going to talk about the teams that matter.
That's right. The last 2 hours of the program will be focused on the top 16 teams in the NFL. Here in the first hour, though, we'll get to the cellar dwellers, the bottom feeders, the catfish of the NFL. Let's get into it. Opening drive, Jeremy. The opening drive, as always, is brought to you by our good friends over at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, 629 Brevard Road. Go over there, drop our name, and guess what? They will give you a $250 bonus on top of whatever your trade-in is worth.
They have me in a brand new 2023 Nissan Rogue, fully loaded, got all the bells and whistles, and you're going to see it on the Book of Face and all the social medias with all the running around we're going to be doing this week. No show on Thursday. Have to revisit that. Mm-hmm. We will be emceeing the Ducks Unlimited banquet, so we will not be here.
Right.
Which means you get today, tomorrow, which is just going to be a big old grab bag of all the things you want to talk about, and that's Football Friday.
That's right. It's going to be here before you know it, and it's going to be another fun weekend. We'll get you ready for all of the college championship weekend, all of the conference championship games.
Give you a hint. I don't think any of them are going to be particularly close.
Yeah. I don't know.
Neither does Las Vegas, if I'm being fair.
I don't know. Clemson, Carolina, that could be a very close game.
If you put those two teams together, stout.
Yeah.
Separate, not as stout.
Give me the offense of the Tar Heels and the defense of the Clemson Tigers, and you got a national
defense of the Clemson Tigers
team.
just made Spencer Rattler look like Lamar Jackson. So,
I mean, did they though?
He threw for 1 billion yards. So,
I
don't
think
care
they did. How many yards you throw for.
I do when you're supposed to be one of the best defenses in the country, and I've seen Spencer Rattler play.
That's an old Jeremy Greene line.
I don't care how many yards you threw for.
And I don't.
Lose. Of course, you did lose.
You also let him score 31 points.
Right.
Oh, it's a vaunted defense. Well, it's not a vaunted quarterback, so transitive property,
right.
You deduce how you want to deduce.
Right. Week 13 Power Rankings. Here we go. Number 32.
The Houston Texans.
Oh, this team's awful.
They're
so awful.
They're awful.
And they keep getting worse and worse every week.
I actually think Kyle Allen might be worse than Davis Mills.
Yes.
And that's saying quite a bit.
I feel like we should have known that.
I also want to know, Lovey, buddy, I want to know how you sat down against a Dolphins team that has allowed practically everybody to run on them and gone, we have one offensive player. We're going to give him 8 touches. How about, David Pierce, it needs to be minimum of 20. Those are your words. Mm-hmm. You said that.
Mm-hmm.
He had 5 carries for 8 yards. Woof. Woof.
But is that not the game plan, though? That's the game plan going up against the Houston Texans. Just load the box. We'll make sure that Dameon Pierce can't hurt us.
I don't care if you put 14 guys in the box. To tell me Kyle Allen threw 39 times and Dameon Pierce ran at 5, somebody boo-booed badly.
Right. What is it, 16 total yards in the last 2 games for Dameon Pierce?
Skylar Thompson threw for as many passes as Dameon Pierce had rushing attempts. You don't think he did that right?
No. Houston Texans shoe in for the number 1 pick in the upcoming NFL draft, and Jeremy will have the mock draft coming to you, Thursday?
That is the plan, yes. In the slot where we vacate, you go to the YouTube, and hey, there it is. Mock draft. That's how it works.
Yeah, okay. At number 31.
The Chicago Bears.
Justin Fields. No Justin Fields. This team's bad anyway.
I don't care if you have Justin Fields. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you have Sally Fields. This team is horrible. Horrible. Look, I'm not overrating the Jet thing because you were playing the Bears. I am just dumbfounded at the lack of talent. Now, look, they had a lot of injuries against the Jets. I think they had 4 players go down over the course of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But still. Then you had the weird in warm-ups, Simeon gets hurt, and he's not going to play, and it's Nathan Peterman. But, oh, wait, no, here he comes like Willis Reed, baby, to score 10 points. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Ryan Poles is the GM that I'm being told he is, because this is this is a tear it down to the studs.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, one of the first moves he made was trading a top 36 pick for Chase Claypool. So
yeah, that's not working out well.
No, he's caught 8 total passes in 4 weeks. Yay!
It's a bad sign.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, be honest with yourself. Look around that Bears roster. Name me the player that you feel good about. This is a piece that's here for the long haul.
No.
End of message. Repeat the line.
Jaquan Brisker.
That is an acceptable answer.
Jaquan Brisker's the only one that I could come up with.
Kyler Gordon, I don't mind.
Yeah.
He's not as good. He's not as high end of a talent to me. The Bears are just awful. I mean, this is years of inept drafting catching up to you.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that team may actually be cursed. I don't believe in curses, but if I did, the Chicago Bears would be how I justified it.
Is this the curse of Rex Grossman?
The curse of Jim McMahon. Oh, wait, he's still alive. The monsters of the Midway. I never knew what that meant. So let's go with that. It's the curse of the monsters of the Midway.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a SpongeBob episode.
It does.
Your team's just awful, okay? You're awful.
Yes. Speaking of awful teams, number 30.
Let's ride the Denver Broncos.
Oh, the Denver Broncos are going to be – they're on track to be the lowest scoring team in franchise history.
Mm-hmm. You have info – and look, I told you this weeks ago. The Russell Wilson thing is rubbing these guys the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And his run-in with Mike Purcell, that's everything you need to know. It's everything you need to know. This is not getting better. You can blame Nathaniel Hackett if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
This is all on Russ. He's about as likable as an adult diaper. And that's being nice.
That's pretty bad.
I mean, he's so annoying. And he's so tone deaf to how bad this team is. And look, I think Denver has talent. They've quit very obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know where you go from here. Like, what is your next move? If you're George Payton and you're bringing the team together and the scouts and you're sitting at the desk, this is what we're going to do in the offseason. Does it involve Russell Wilson?
It has to.
Then Let's ride.
You have to figure out a way to make this work. This will be the most masterful job George Payton's ever had or done if he's able to figure out how to make it work.
The most terrifying part to me is that they have weapons.
Mm-hmm.
They have weapons. The offensive line's not been good, but it's not been horrible. I mean, you can throw another scheme at this. I'm just not sure it's going to work. I'm not sure it's going to work. I'm not sure who's going to take this job and hinge themselves on Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. That's the other part of this with Denver that nobody ever talks about. All right, so you fire Nathaniel Hackett. Who in their right mind is looking at this going, yep, that's who I'm taking I'm swinging my shot with, let's ride.
Right.
I'll pass.
Paul Christ, wasn't he his coach? His 1 year in Wisconsin? Maybe Paul Christ will want that job.
I mean, I've heard names floated, and they're all young guys getting their first crack at this. No shot.
You just did that, though. No shot. Right. You just brought in Nathaniel Hackett.
The only way I think you get a good coach to agree to this is if it's a Lovie Smith type move. This is the only job you're getting. You are a vet. Maybe you can assemble an up-and-coming staff, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a franchise that's in purgatory. And, I would say it wasn't predictable, except I predictable it.
You did. Number 29.
I can't. I still can't believe this number is beside this team. And I am not sure that I'm not too high. The Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to tie a member of this organization to another organization later in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say it, you're going to think I'm out of my mind. And you're going to think about it. And the more you think about it, the more sense it's going to make. I could see this being an absolute Titanic situation. It's going down.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a question of how many of us are still on it when it does. Aaron Donald, will you be shocked if he just goes, I'm out?
No, I'm done.
Matt Stafford, we've talked about this. His wife's a huge concussion advocate, and the NFL hasn't handled this well. You're going to be shocked if a team with no draft capital that it appears is going to have given up a top 5 pick.
It would be 3 right now.
Yeah. And I don't see it getting any better. This team's awful. Just genuinely awful.
Mm-hmm.
There is a report out of Kansas City that a strange human was found on the field at Arrowhead after the game Sunday.
Okay.
Apparently, when they went up to him, they asked, what are you doing here? He said, looking for Travis Kelce. Upon further investigation, it was Jalen Ramsey.
Nice.
Not my joke. Can't take credit for it. But
yeah, the Rams are terrible. 3-8. Nobody would have thought that this team would be at this point, but you don't have Cooper Kupp.
The scariest part of this to me is Les Snead's not learning the lesson. The fact he was out there trying to give 2 more first-rounders away for Brian Burns tells me you have no clue.
But he made it work.
You are as clueless as you could possibly be.
But he made it work. He got the trophy out of the deal, and he thinks he can just lather up and do it again.
Yeah, you can't.
No.
I've always said trading first-round draft picks is a lot like trying to shoot your way out of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see mob movies and somebody gets cornered, and they're like, we'll blast our way out. How many bullets do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's more of them than you have bullets. So unless you think you're going to take out 2 or 3 of them at a time, this is not going to go your way.
Right.
And it usually ends up with somebody laying in the middle of the warehouse bleeding. And that's kind of how I look at the Rams.
Because they are on life support.
Shot full of bullet holes with very little hope for the future.
All right, there's your first 4 or first 5 in the Week 13 power rankings. Was that 4? Oh, okay. Excuse me. I had never mind. So the first 4 now in the books in the Week 13 power rankings. We will continue with the rest of the bottom 16 up next.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
Back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, and Week 13 Power Rankings continuing with the bottom 16.
I have these. The team that we ended off with, the LA Rams, this team's in the same division. And I think they're in practically the same boat for completely different reasons.
Okay. Number 28.
The Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, explain yourself. How are they in the same boat?
I feel like the Rams are well coached, but they don't have players.
Okay.
I feel like the Cardinals have players, but they're not well coached.
Okay.
And this is the definition of Cliff Kingsbury's like that substitute teacher that when you're showing Saving Private Ryan, everything's fine, but when you try to act like a teacher, that's where you get locked out of the classroom, and
right.
It turns into the Lord of the Flies, and that's where Arizona's at. When you have a quarterback that has the cojones to say schematically we're blanked, I've never heard a quarterback say that. Never. Now, the good thing for Arizona, you have enough offensive weapons that I still think this is attractive enough.
Yes.
It's an attractive place to live. Cliff Kingsbury is, short of some Undertaker rise out of the coffin, he gone.
Yeah, he's done. He's done like dinner.
But I do think it'll be attractive. It's intriguing to me that this is one of the two destinations that have been talked about with Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan, just hope the Chargers job doesn't open.
Because why would why?
If the Chargers job opens, you're getting the second best candidate at best.
Why would you not like the opportunity to do this? He's already had a short quarterback and made him turn out to be a Hall of Famer great. I get a lot. Drew Brees way better than Kyler Murray. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying he's done this before. I feel
like the right coach can turn this around, but I definitively know that's not Cliff Kingsbury.
Yes. And I think they all know it as well.
And he will, like Matt Rule, get fired and go take a college job. Can't tell you which one.
Arizona State.
Arizona State already has a coach. Kenny Dillingham.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he went to the podium and went full Derek Carr and cried excessively.
Okay, how about Colorado? Because I don't see Deion Sanders going.
No, Deion Sanders is using them. Hey, Colorado, how much money you want to give me? That's the beginning offer.
Yeah.
Any takers. Cincinnati, looking at you.
There's no hope for turning things around for the Arizona Cardinals in this season.
No, but I could see them turning around quickly with the right coach next year.
Yes.
And this is a division that is, I don't see Seattle going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco's not going anywhere. So, it's going to be a competitive division. It's not as hopeless as one would think, but it's very hopeless right now.
Number 27.
The Carolina Panthers.
That's right. Sam Darnold's back, and they at least look better. They at least
it
look
bothers me that it took
offense.
you this long to figure that out.
Yeah. Again,
Steve Wilkes, Fat Ben McAdoo, Fat Matt Rule. None of you could figure out, why did you give up a pick for Baker Mayfield? You had a better quarterback on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say he's good.
I had to take the swing.
No, you didn't.
I had to take the swing for the fan base.
No, you didn't. You think like the fans, you'll end up sitting with them.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Rule looking right at you. Mm-hmm. Ben McAdoo, you got your PSL bought for next year? Because I have a funny feeling you're headed back to the couch.
And Steve as well.
Steve Wilkes not the long-term hire.
No.
This roster is too attractive to hire a coach like Steve Wilkes. He's a retread coach.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I think he's a smart enough guy. I think he's a good coordinator. He's not a head coach. And the Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, P.J. Walker the shell game should tell you everything you need to know. Mm-hmm. Ask yourself this. David Tepper, who has loved swinging his money around, do you think he looks at Steve Wilkes and goes, that's what I'm going to sell to the fan base?
No.
There you go.
Like I said, he went out and took the shot with Matt Rule, spent money on it. It's not – do you think he learned his lesson? No. I mean, maybe he learned the lesson of not going after a college coach, but he's going to do the splashy thing.
He's going to take the swing.
Yes.
And don't be shocked if it's a swing that you don't want him to take.
What does that mean?
As I find out more, I'll let you know.
Okay, all right.
Just put it this way. Ken Dorsey's not the layup that I thought he was.
Carolina Panthers, I'm going to keep repeating it over and over and over again. Stop winning games. All you're doing is hurting your draft stock.
You need a quarterback.
Yes.
There's only 3 of them.
Right. And you're already at a point
Unless
where,
you want 26-year-old Tanner McKee, which, hey, I mean, we've done this plenty of times. Brandon Whedon was in the league for, what, an hour?
Right. You're flirting with disaster here. You can't win anymore to get one of the top quarterbacks, or at least have a shot at one of the top quarterbacks. The problem is you still have winnable games left on the schedule.
Mm-hmm. You need to not winnable them.
Right. You still got the Steelers, the Lions, the Bucks, and the Saints. All winnable games because you've already beaten 2 of them already. Stop winning games. Focus on the draft. Let's move on. End of message. Repeat the line. Number 26.
Wow.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh, the other kitty cats. Jacksonville Jaguars sitting at 4-7. Trevor Lawrence, though, I will say this. To see Trevor Lawrence lead that team back against the Baltimore Ravens, I felt like that was a growth step.
I'm going to say this as clearly as I can. ESPN put out a top 25 under 24 years old today. Whoever took their fingers and beat on a keyboard and said Justin Fields is better than Trevor Lawrence, you are a buffoon. And you should not work in this industry. Because if you believe that, you're either lying, which is that's what I think. They get more clicks because we had Justin Fields ahead of Trevor Lawrence. Or you are Chicago Bear bad at this. And you should be working at the Home Depot. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just there are many of us that understand this game better than you that we leave the list to us. Okay. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. This is going to take time. It's just the way it is. It's going to take time. The expectations of him have, I feel like, not done him a service. He's been good. He just hasn't been special. And that's where you start to look at this and go, well, is he the generational prospect that we thought he was? There's a lot of quarterbacks that take 2 or 3 years to hit their stride. Tom Brady was a game manager. Just remember that.
He was.
He didn't become Tom Brady until much later.
Trevor Lawrence, let's not give up on Trevor. And, what would you like to see from this team down the stretch? Would you like to see them keep going hard trying to win games?
I mean, this is a team that doesn't really matter to me.
That's where I'm at.
I want you to win. I don't necessarily think you need to tank. You've got to set up a winning culture, and that's what Doug Peterson's working with. So this is the team where I don't say tank for a draft pick. But there's not a ready-made solution. I like Quentin Johnston, the receiver out of TCU, on this team. It's a luxury. It's a piece that would be nice for Trevor Lawrence. But if you tell me that they wind up with, I'm trying to think, Brian Breeze instead, do I feel like that completely changes the franchise? No. This hinges on Trevor. Trevor needs to learn to win.
Yes.
And you need meaningful game reps for all these young guys.
Yes.
That's what you're doing.
That's where I'm at with this team as well. I just wanted to know what you were feeling because I feel like this is it. Now it's time. You've put weapons around him. Travis Etienne has sparked on the scene here lately. Now it's time to learn how to win games. At number 25.
The Cleveland Browns.
Ah, yeah, they beat my team.
They did.
Ugh.
They did, and they're not good. And neither are you.
No.
Now, here's the thing.
But Deshaun Watson returns this week.
And, all right, so I'm sure some people will say, but we beat Tampa Bay. How did we not go up? Because I have absolutely no idea what next week's going to look like. And I'm not trying to bring this back to fantasy football. I'm in a league where Kyler Murray was my quarterback. He's on bye this week. I have to play Deshaun Watson, and it gives me great anguish. Because I have no idea what this is going to look like. So I'm reserving my evaluation on Cleveland for a week. I hate to say I punted this, but I kind of did.
You kind of did. I thought the same thing. Why did they not go up? Because I feel like this team, especially when you add in Deshaun Watson, just that addition moves them up 5 spots to me.
Maybe. This is a guy that still hasn't played in 2 years.
I get it.
So to think he's going to walk in here and be Deshaun Watson of 3 years ago, I think you're asking a lot.
I'm excited. I think Cleveland Browns fans need to be excited to see where this goes. And the fact that he gets to come back game one and just have the revenge game of all revenge games against the Houston Texans.
They're going to smoke the Texans. That's not what I want to see.
You won't learn anything.
I don't agree with you.
Really?
I want to see how the mechanics of this all work out. Does he look like a quarterback that's been on the shelf for 2 years? Mm-hmm. Or does he look like his former self? Does he look like he's in shape? Because, I mean, the end of the schedule is – it's not evil, but it's not easy either. And you're going to have to win out. Mm-hmm. You lose one game, and I think your playoff chances have elapsed. Because you lost a lot of games in the conference. And you now lose the tiebreaker to several teams that you're going to be vying with. Mm-hmm. Now, a week from now, I would say they probably go up. It would have to be pretty bad for me to leave them here. I can't raise them on the, well, this is what I think might maybe happen with a guy I haven't seen in 29 months. That's tough for me.
Another batch of 4 losers coming your way after the break right here on ESPN Asheville is the Week 13 Power Rankings.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
Week 13 Power Rankings continuing here in the Sportsocracy. Be sure to follow us on all the social medias, conveniently at the Sportsocracy.
We own them all. You're not going to find one where we don't have it.
That's right. At number 24 this week,
the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I made the case on Monday. You just need to shut it down.
I'm going to be as honest about this as I can be.
Okay.
I don't care.
Don't care either way.
I don't. This is the most boring team on the planet Earth. I want you to think, somebody pointed this out to me, and it hadn't crossed my mind until it was said, and now I can't unsee it.
Okay.
If Aaron Rodgers wasn't the starting quarterback of this team, how many seconds of play would they have gotten on this show? If Aaron Rodgers had just disappeared, rode off into the sunset, and Jordan Love was the starting quarterback.
As much as the Houston Texans.
That was kind of the point.
Yeah.
And now, if Aaron doesn't play, I really don't care. I don't really care if he does play. You're bad. I've seen it. You're not a playoff team. Move on.
Yeah.
And once I heard that, I went, you know what? That's a good point. We have wasted entirely too much time on the Green Bay Packers. You're 24, and I'm not sure you shouldn't be lower.
Yeah.
I just look at the talent and Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know. If Jordan Love plays, you're probably 29. Sorry.
Yeah.
You need a new coach. Nathaniel Hackett's going to be available very soon, and Aaron Rodgers really likes him.
He does. He does. Okay, at number 23.
The Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
If the Green Bay Packers played with Detroit's heart, they'd be a Super Bowl contender.
Yes.
They don't, and they're not. You're still at a deficit talent-wise. Mm-hmm. The offense is talented. I still don't understand what Amon St. Brown has to do to get his flowers.
His flowers. Not mentioned in the top 25.
The fact he wasn't even
25.
an honorable mention makes me legitimately angry.
Yes.
He is a special player in this league. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest. Detroit might be the most interesting team in the offseason of any team in the league.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you got to realize they're going to have 2 picks that are top 12.
Yeah.
One of them might be in the top 5.
One will definitely be in the top 5.
Well, you think that, but then look around and realize how many bad teams there are in this league. They don't all play each other.
Right.
Somebody has to win. Let's say just where they're at now, 3-13. That would be an interesting draft class. Mm-hmm. Do you go quarterback? Do you go Will Levis at 3? Do you tap out on quarterback and say, we're fine with Jared Goff for another year? Do you go a cheap option? Do you chase a Zach Wilson? Do you see what I'm talking about here?
Absolutely.
There's so many different avenues that this team could go that I think are going to be absolutely fascinating.
Defense. That's what I would do.
I'm not so sure I agree with you.
Really?
No, we'll talk about the mock draft. I have a theory. That's one of my favorite phrases. I know what I would do. with the way the board shakes out.
I was going to say, should they not be in the Jalen Carter sweepstakes? Should they not be, if you're picking at 3, Will Anderson, Aiden Hutchinson, now you're doing stuff. You got the Aquaras in there as well.
Yeah, but I mean, think about that. How much draft capital are you going to use on the defense?
All of it. The offense is fine.
The offense is good, but it's inconsistent. Mm-hmm. And this is a scoring league. I mean, you got a lot of guys that you're not even really sure what you have.
Yeah, but you also got to factor in
I'm not a fan of spending capital on things that where I'm replacing a guy that I don't know what I have.
Okay.
And they have a bunch of those. Mm-hmm. Look, I love Aaron Glenn. I think he's going to be a head coach in this league. But the defense is not good.
No.
And the question is it because of schematic issues, talent issues?
I think it's a talent issue.
I think it's a little bit of both. It's just where do the percentages fall in? Is he going to be around next year? I think he will be I can't tell you he's going to get a job, but I think he will get more interviews than people think because of how bad this defense has been. I trust Brad Holmes. He absolutely fleeced the LA Rams on Matthew Stafford.
Yes.
But they got a Super Bowl. Okay. Well, I'll remind you said that 5 years from now. Because it's very possible that you're about to that second pick you gave up is about to turn into a Khalil Mack level pass rusher.
Yes.
I think Detroit's fine with that.
Of course they are. They still have Jameson Williams on the shelf. So
that's another part of this.
That.
I want to see what the offense looks like with him. There's still a lot of pieces in play. Mm-hmm. They have a ton of draft capital. I don't think you have to be shoehorned into anything. Fall in love with a player. Take the lesson from the Seattle Seahawks, the New York Jets, the New York Giants, teams that have gotten better through the draft. Fall in love with a player. Don't fall in love with a position. Mm-hmm. Don't go into this thing and we have to have a quarterback or we have to have Jalen Carter or we have to go take the best defensive player. Just go take the best player. Just go get dogs and build everything else around it.
I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't go quarterback. Not with the top pick, anyway. I would stick around and, wait and see what's left in the second round or third round or whatever, and then take your shot next year.
This will be a great time to point out there will be a 3-round mock draft coming out on Thursday.
Indeed.
It's Thursday with a th.
At number 22.
The New Orleans Saints. This is when you look around and go, good Lord, the bottom of this league is awful.
Mm-hmm. It is, because, we've done 11 of these now, and they're all god-awful.
Mm-hmm. To some level.
And we're not done. That's the problem. No. We still got 5 more sucky teams to go.
Yes. When I say there is a divide at 16, I'm not kidding. When you see who's 16 and who's 17, you'll go, good Lord, there's a chasm between those two.
Yes, there is. New Orleans Saints would like Chris Olave, obviously.
I like pieces and I like the defense.
Yeah, you got to figure out the quarterback
This
position.
is another first-year head coach that needs to get canned.
Yes.
Dennis Allen ain't it. I can't tell you who it is. I can tell you who it ain't. It isn't. It ain't Dennis Allen.
It ain't Dennis Allen.
And I think this is an intriguing job.
For the most part. This is like a DeMeco Ryans type job to me.
Not to me. I can't go defensive guy. My defense is fine. I need somebody that can do something with this offense. Mm-hmm. Man, wouldn't it be nice if we had that 6th pick?
It would be, but you don't.
You're going to have to get cute.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a handful of quarterbacks that are going to move teams. And before anybody says, you have New Orleans too high, because I know that's coming. Mm-hmm. If they had any other quarterback in the NFL,
if they had Jared Goff,
if they had Mike White, where would you have the New Orleans Saints?
16
or higher. If they even had a competent offense, just even look like an NFL team, where would they be? Because the defense is good. But Dennis Allen is not.
Yeah.
And neither is Andrew Dalton.
Yep. And at number 21.
The horrible clock management Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, Jeff Saturday. Come on, man.
Yeah,
you've been around this game long enough, don't you know?
You remember when I said there's a reason you don't hire coaches that aren't coaches?
Mm-hmm. That's it.
I found it. We thought we had plenty of time. So, now, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but what did you think happened with unspent timeouts? Did you think they gave you a field goal for that? That's what I always want to ask. We thought we had to. Well, what'd you plan on doing with the timeouts?
Look, he's a Carolina guy.
Are you scared that Kenny Pickett's going to get the ball and go down and score on you?
He's a Carolina guy. He was doing the Roy Williams thing. Like, you don't call a timeout and disrupt the momentum.
Yeah, what is it with you Carolina people? And we just never call timeouts ever.
No.
You know what's funny? I don't know that anybody even tells you that you have them. You just look up one day and go, oh, I wonder what that TO is on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
We don't ever do that.
An entire minute clicked off the clock in that final drive as they're trying to come back and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football.
It would have been a joke if you had Pat Mahomes on the other side. The fact that you had Kenny Pickett, situational awareness, buddy.
Yep.
Because yours was bleak. Although, as a fan of a team that's right there hanging around that 6, 7, 8 line, thank you for eradicating yourself. Now I don't have to worry about you.
They were never going to make the playoffs.
No, but it's just good that we can just take them off the screen. Yeah. Okay, because that tie means sayonara, good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Indeed. I'm going to have plenty of pleasant tomorrows because PhD weight loss in the last year helped me lose over 90 pounds. You know, it sounds like a big deal because it is a big freaking deal. I am so pleased with the results that we got from PhD weight loss. Over 90 pounds in a year I never thought was success that was possible.
I didn't have 90 pounds to lose. However, I had gotten a little doughy, much like a Thanksgiving dinner roll. Bad food choices, fast food, and just overall being lazy. Just under a year on this program, Dr. Lucas has taught me the plan and principle to make better food choices. I'm back down to my high school weight, and it's all thanks to the plan and program of PhD weight loss.
My biggest thing is staying away from sugar. It was the biggest problem of my life. I love sweets, and now that I've seen these results, I don't want so many cakes and candies anymore. PhD weight loss is the answer to your weight loss problem. Go to myphdweightloss.com. That's myphdweightloss.com. You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, and we are rolling through the Week 13 Power Rankings, bottom 16. Here's your last quadrant. Number 20.
Don't look now. The Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, the Raiders get 475 rushing yards from Josh Jacobs, and they vault up the power rankings by 8 spots.
Do you realize how different this season could have gone? I mean, look, I don't believe in the Broncos at all. I don't strongly believe in the Seahawks, but that's 2 wins in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look around the dregs of the NFL, I see a marked difference in the Raiders.
Okay.
I don't know if you do or not. The fact that you could score 40 on any team in this league, I don't care who it is. You could have told me it was the Houston Texans practice squad, and I still would have gone, I'm okay with that.
Right.
Just scores, please. God, score some points.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Jacobs is a good player. I feel like all of the things around the Raiders had to calm down with how badly they started, and now that's kind of where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody expects anything from you. You're playing in these games that nobody's watching in the 4 o'clock window, and that probably benefits you. Get meaningful snaps, figure out what you got for next year. I mean, there's still losses on the schedule. They're going to lose to the 49ers. They're going to lose to the Chiefs, most likely.
Yeah.
Chiefs will have nothing to play for, but probably still lose that.
Yes.
You want to get a few wins here, build a little momentum going into next year. It's another team. I'm not worried about where you pick. You have enough vets on this team. I'll find a player wherever I slot. You're building a culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm much less down on Josh McDaniels today than I was 3 weeks ago.
Okay. At number 19.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. That's how bad the bottom of the NFL is.
Mm-hmm.
This Pittsburgh team that is completely, at times, listless offensively. got to win this week, got to win against the Saints a couple weeks ago, and played with the Bengals. This team is just different with T.J. Watt.
Mm-hmm.
This goes to a theory I've had for quite some time. A quarterback's best friend is not necessarily having 7 weapons. It's having a defense that can stop somebody.
Right.
Where I'm not asking you to do crazy amounts of things. I know Cincinnati scored 37 points on them. I get it. Cincinnati's okay, it's going to be quite a while before you hear the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
I know you're not in that class. The fact that you can hang with them gives me a little hope for the future, and I saw a little growth out of Kenny Pickett last night.
Okay.
I'm still not telling you he's ever going to be a star to any extreme.
I'm still at we don't have the guy.
I'm not as sure of that. He looked like he was very much in command of that offense. And you got to remember, the weapons around him are insane.
Mm-hmm.
You need an offensive line. Maybe stop playing Dan Moore at left tackle because, he's guard. He's guard. So, I mean, I do feel like this team with an offensive line would look completely different.
I would agree.
And had you not lost T.J. Watt, you probably still lost every one of those games anyway. Now that I'm looking at the schedule, I mean, be honest with yourself. They lost to – take out the loss to the Browns. You've lost every game to a team that's going to be in the top 16 power rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins, Eagles, Bengals. And most of them will have single digits by their name.
Yeah. I wouldn't have liked you with T.J. Watt in those games anyway.
I wouldn't have either. Now, down the stretch, you have several winnable games. The Pittsburghs, I mean, I know you're going to – if they split with the Ravens, which they tend to do,
mm-hmm.
they'll be favored in 3 other games. Maybe that Mike Tomlin streak doesn't end after all.
Oh, that would be the spiciest turnaround of the season.
I'm not necessarily telling you that I think that's going to happen. I think they will end up on some side of 8-9, 9-8.
Okay.
Split with the Ravens, win the other games that you're supposed to, and then beat a Cleveland team that's playing for very little at the end of the year.
Number 18.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. That's. I mean, you just have so much to work on. You have so much to improve on, but you feel like you got the coach figured out. Is there a part of this team that you're looking at and going, that's good?
Whoever your quarterback is. And I can tell you it's not Marcus Mariota. I can also tell you it's not Desmond Ridder. Now, whether Arthur Smith knows that or not, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever your quarterback is, he's going to have some toys to play with. Tyler Algier is not a bad running back. Neither is Cordell Patterson. And you have 2 big old dogs on the outside. I said I think Atlanta's a year away, and I stick by that.
Okay.
You're a year away.
Year away.
They will be Atlanta, best case scenario, you still have something to play for in weeks 16, 17, 18 because you're in the worst division in football.
You got to be chasing down the division leader.
You need a quarterback very badly. Add a quarterback, then tell me what you think of this team.
And the division leader at number 17.
The horrible Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's the only team who I'm going to say that listlessly.
Ugh.
You are the best of the awful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that you're the best of the awful. If you had any other quarterback, any player that hadn't haunted my nightmares for 22 years, I'd have you in the mid-20s. Because You're not good, you're horribly coached. The defense is ridiculously inconsistent. But much like a vampire, I'm not going to believe Tom's dead until I physically see him not moving.
Yes.
I don't think you can do anything in the playoffs.
No.
I don't. I just don't think there's any fixing this. You're seeing records of Tom Brady's fall, and there's a reason for that. We always talked about, was it Brady, was it Belichick? Who was the mastermind and the reason behind it? Was a perfect storm of both.
Mm-hmm.
Bill's ills could be covered by Tom, and vice versa.
Yep.
Bill reined in Tom. There's nobody to rein in
the
Tom.
Tom
now.
Brady haters love to throw out that stat about look how many elite defenses he had over the years. Well, that's what Bill does. Bill throws out elite defensive schemes. He's not very good offensively, though.
No. I mean,
and that's where Tom made up the difference. They were perfect for each other.
I just don't think there's much here.
No, there's not.
And you need to fire Todd Bowles.
Yes.
He is a horrible head coach.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll get into the top 16 starting up next after SportsCenter here on ESPN Asheville.
He's a degenerate gambler,
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
and he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. The Sportsocracy, of course, heard everywhere around the world on the iHeartRadio app, coming to you live from the Ingles Studio. You can also see us live on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can join us in the chat each and every day, plus get those alerts whenever we are live. The Week 13 Power Rankings rolling on here, and we are at the top half of the league. See, we normally spend way too much time debating who's trash and who's trashier.
Yeah, we're going to do that in the mock draft that's coming out this week. So we figured we'll go half the league, and then we'll really deep dive on the playoff teams that, are relevant.
Absolutely. So let's go. Let's get into it. Number 16. It's the
New York Giants.
Yep, the New York Football Giants. And, this is a team that's, I will say, flirted with disaster most of the season. We felt like they've been a team that is good enough to win some games, but they've lost the last two in a row, losing to the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys. Are the wheels coming off?
Well, I mean, just the sheer fact that this team is killed at receiver. Everybody knows what it is that you want to do, and you're playing from behind. The thing that scares me the most about the Giants is that nothing's going particularly wrong. Say Thanksgiving against the Cowboys. Daniel Jones wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm. No.
Saquon wasn't bad. He just didn't get the ball enough. That's unnerving to me, that it's not turnovers, that Daniel Jones hasn't reverted back to bad Daniel Jones. I mean, he's 12th in the NFL in QBR.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at that schedule now. 2 dates with the Commanders, 2 dates with the Eagles, the Vikings in Minnesota, and the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that out of the range of possibility that this team doesn't win another game.
They may not. I mean, they typically always split the season series, though, with the teams in the NFC East. So I would say, Philadelphia, I don't feel like they're going to do that with them.
The only chance is that by the time you play them in week 18, they have nothing to play for.
True.
So you may catch something. You may catch an advantageous break there. But, what's the high side? Do you see 3 wins in that? Take 3 wins to get to 10-7.
No, not really.
I don't either. I'm not sure I see a win.
I feel like they could beat the Commanders.
It's because you also hate the Commanders.
I don't hate the Commanders.
You do. You roll your eyes every single week when I tell you where they're slotted. That's too high. Okay, well, who are you going to put them in? Who do they go behind?
No one.
Well, no one. Hey, you do exactly what you just did. No, they're not worse than. Exactly.
This is not a great football team. And neither are the New York Giants.
No, the Giants have had some good luck. You caught games with some of the worst teams in the league. You beat the Bears, you beat the Jaguars, you beat the Texans and the Panthers. That's half of your wins. I fully believe the Titans game to start the season was a fluke. Thought the Ravens game was kind of a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
And then you beat a Packers team that's not very good in London. At the end of the day, this is who they are. You have a mediocre quarterback that's playing above his skis, which is a credit to Brian Daboll. I'm not trying to throw shade at the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's not a lot that you can really hang your hat on. And once you get into the nitty-gritty of this, it's not pretty. You Saquon Barkley really well.
Yes.
I think your defense is good enough. Losing to Dory Jackson hurt.
Right.
I'll be really honest with you. I think had you had him against the Cowboys, that game would have been more competitive. I still don't think you win, but having him for CeeDee Lamb would have changed a little bit. At the end of the day, I just think this is going to be a team that we look at and go, man, they started nice and hot, and then it fizzled.
Yeah.
No, you got kind of lucky in the beginning, and then you started to revert more to who you are.
I would agree with that. New York Giants, the start to the season was better than you ever could have expected. The problem with this team is you just don't have it yet.
I mean, look at who caught passes for them this week. Isaiah Hodgins, Chris Myrick, Lawrence Cager, Tanner Hudson.
Can we put
that sounds like guys that are in a frat. Like it looks like the roster of a fraternity.
Can we put an end to the Odell Beckham Jr. thing?
Yeah, that's not happening.
No.
Why would he go back to New York to play for a team that's not any good?
Exactly. Would Odell Beckham, just ask yourself, if you're on the, this would be so great, would Odell Beckham Jr. rejoining this team end up with them winning 4 out of their next 6 games?
No. But I do think with Odell, you have a better chance of getting to that 2 or 3 and sneaking in the back of the playoffs. I just don't think you can do anything once you get there.
No, and why would he choose you over the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, that part, because you could be the guy. I think you undersell that with type A personalities like Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, but I don't. I think
you could be the guy in New York. You could rewrite. I get why you would want to do it. It's just every passing week. Daniel Jones strikes me as the pumpkin that turned into a carriage, and at some point, midnight's going to strike, and you're going to be sitting on a pumpkin. I'm going to say this again. He's 12th in the NFL in QBR. He's never been that guy before.
No.
Now, all of a sudden, in year 4, he's become that guy with significantly inferior receivers.
Brian Daboll.
And I get that. You're talking about a transformation here that we've never really seen. And I just don't find it to be sustainable. I would say the Giants probably end up, I'll say 9-8. And if you make the playoffs, you make it as the 7. And you probably have to play Minnesota in Minnesota a second time.
It's not going to be fun.
No.
It won't be fun the first time. Definitely wouldn't be fun the second time. I think there's a possibility that they still make the playoffs.
But that's more just because of how god-awful the bottom of the NFC is.
True. Very true. All in all, season has been a success.
No doubt. You could lose every game for the rest of the year. It's been a success.
You got a lot to work on here. You got a lot, or not a lot to work on. I guess I should say a lot to work with.
A lot more than I thought. This is just a roster it's bereft of talent in places, and the cracks are starting to show.
Yeah, you do need to set your sights on the offseason and what you're going to add to make this better. Because I think you're stuck with Daniel.
Somebody that can catch the ball and get open.
All right, at number 15.
The Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, I mean, this has been fun. But this team has come back down to earth, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
After losing their last 2.
And I feel like you could take everything we just said about the New York Giants and just ditto.
For Seattle?
Ditto. It's the exact same story.
Okay.
You have a quarterback that is playing above his skis. That is not who he is. Now, the difference is that this team does have weapons. That makes me think that what Geno Smith has been is a little more sustainable. At the end of the day, 2 weeks in a row, you've lost to bad teams.
Yes.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a bad team.
Yes.
The Las Vegas Raiders are a horrible team. And I'm going to say the same thing I said about Daniel Jones. It's not like Geno Smith was bad.
No.
He wasn't great, but it's not like I can point to Geno and go, you're the reason we lost. Teams have figured out it's Kenny Walker or bust. If we stop that, the rest of it's empty calories.
Well, and you got to figure out how to stop the run, too. Like, this is you went up against a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team who
doesn't run well.
Who's averaging, what was it, 68 yards?
73 yards rushing a game.
73 yards a game. You gave up 106 to a rookie in Rashad White in Germany. And then you turned around and you gave up a bajillion to Josh Jacobs.
This season's still, I'll say the same thing we say with the Giants. The season's still a success, though, no matter what happens.
100%. I mean, they're still top half of the league, and I feel like that's saying something for a team that we thought was not going to sniff outside the top, 25?
We thought this was one of the 5 worst teams in the NFL.
Exactly.
And look, you have significant draft capital. 2 1s, 2 2s. That Denver pick is looking like it could be a franchise cornerstone player. Jalen Carter. That would greatly assist in your ability to stop the run.
Absolutely. I'll be interested to see where this goes the next few weeks because you're going to face the LA Rams next. And if you give up 100 yards to them rushing,
and they may have picked up whoever runs for them next week, they may have picked up off a street corner somewhere in LA. They may actually have a hobo playing running back for them. At the rate that's going. Kyron Williams, a guy I like in DFS quite a bit this week. But they have winnable games.
Oh, yeah. You
got 2 with the Rams. You got 1 with the Panthers. Those other 3. That doesn't look so pretty.
No. 49ers, Chiefs, Jets.
That's not pretty.
It's a 9-win team.
I would say that's probably accurate.
And
I think you're going to beat the Rams twice. I kind of think that Panther game is a coin flip. The benefit is that you do get it at home. And I'm not sure how well that Carolina team's going to travel. Even if the Sam Darnold thing is real, I struggle to believe they're going to go to Seattle and beat you. But that puts you 9-8. That puts you 9-8. At the end of the day, the NFC is low key the exact same as the AFC. There are 3 teams at the bottom of this playoff picture. It's the Giants that we just talked about, Seattle they're talking about right now, and then another team that's coming up momentarily. 3 teams, 2 playoff spots. One of them's going to miss it. I will say it's probably the Giants.
I would agree. I think Seattle's got enough winnable games left. It would be hard for me to see them not winning those games.
And then you have to figure out what to do with Geno. I mean,
he can start.
To me, that's going to be the question of the offseason.
We can take a quarterback and he can start the season next year, but beyond
all right,
that,
so ask yourself
out.
This question. Right now, if I remember correctly, the Denver pick would be 3.
Yes.
So we say Stroud, Young go 1-2. You can take Will Levis or you can take Jalen Carter. Which one are you doing?
Carter.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't think a second thing about it. I wouldn't think a second thing about it. Now, then I might consider a Tanner McKee or somebody like that with your second first rounder.
Absolutely.
Might even be able to get him early in the second. I kind of find that to be unlikely. Or you take a project in Anthony Richardson, re-sign Geno on a team-friendly 1-year deal. I think Geno knows this is the one place that I can be successful. It's not like he's going to have a huge market.
And nobody wants him.
I won't say nobody. He's shown that he can be an efficient quarterback, and he'll be a cheap option. He knows his best-case scenario is still come back to Seattle, even if there's another quarterback behind him. And that could set you up forever. I have said that Russell Wilson deal is going to go down as the worst in NFL history, and I don't even know who the 2 picks this year are, and I don't care. It could be Ryan Leaf and me. It's still the worst trade I've ever seen, and it's not all that close. I wasn't alive for Herschel Walker. I mean, I know what it yielded. I get all of that. This could be that level of bad. So if you're Seattle, you're playing with house money. You make the playoffs this year, great. If you don't, you got 2 picks in the top 20. Keep filling those coffers with talent. Lather up. Do it again. Pete Carroll is the youngest 71-year-old man in the history of the world.
How do you feel about this defense? They have enough to work on to be elite like they were at one time?
They have good pieces. I like Tariq Woolen. I think it will be now that you have Tariq Woolen, I think it's actually advantageous that you have Jamal Adams. Now, the funny thing is that you completely ripped off the Denver Broncos. I feel like the Jets completely ripped you off. So, but with Tariq Woolen and Kobe Bryant and a couple other players, I feel like the secondary is getting better. You need a pass rusher, something ferocious. Nwosu has been a great addition Other than that, they play rotational pieces that probably shouldn't be in this league, let alone getting significant reps. It's the lack of talent. You saw it against the Raiders, and I think you're going to continue to see it when they go 49ers, Chiefs, Jets. Those teams are significantly more talented than you. Mm-hmm. I think you'll see it. But it's still been a good year no matter what happens for Seattle. You're playing with house money.
I think we know the book is out on Seattle, how you can hurt them, run down their throat. Carolina Panthers, it's your best choice. Deontay Foreman all day long.
Stop them from running and run it right at them.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN. Asheville will pick up the Week 13 Power Rankings next with number 14.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man!
Back here in the Sportsocracy, Week 13 Power Rankings, number 14, Jeremy Greene.
The New England Patriots.
Wow, you actually said that with a little gusto. I'm impressed. New England 6-5 on the year and coming off a loss to the Minnesota Vikings, but hey, at least it was a competitive game.
Yeah, I mean, I understand you got completely hosed on that Hunter Henry touchdown. I've just learned I don't actually know what to catch it, and I don't think anybody else does either. No. We should just make it up as we go along. Mm-hmm. Well, all you have to do is break the plane. Well, unless you're falling down and then you have to survive the ground. Wait. Have we ever seen but he's not a ball carrier. He's actually everything I have ever been told. You are in possession of the ball. You break the plane. Mm-hmm. It's a touchdown.
Yes.
I'm a Jets fan. Trust me, I see it go, nope, incomplete. Said no. In my head, I'm going, that's 100% complete. Unless we're making this up as we go along, that's complete.
I love the replays of that and the Travis Kelce touchdown.
And his hand under the ball. Like, oh, look, his hand was there the entire time. Well, then why did the ball bounce up, dum-dum?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're not arguing that. All right, we're on your side here. I understand you're the Patriots. It's really rare that anybody's on your side, but we are.
Whole bunch of flowers for Mac Jones after that game, though. Lots of talk about, hey, this is Mac Jones. This is the rebirth after, some lackluster performances so far this season.
He still wasn't all that good. QBR was 56.8. He was the definite.
Yards,
I don't care how many yards you threw for. Dig a little deeper into the analytics. You'll quickly realize, that wasn't necessarily as good as you think it was. I mean, but he's fine. He's Melba toast. Mm-hmm. He'll keep you alive. I will say, seeing Mac Jones throw for 380 makes me pretty sure that future Hall of Famer Mac White's going to throw for about 5 bills. Oh, God, you better pray that doesn't happen.
Against the Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, just fake your own death. You think yesterday was bad? Oh.
Let the Jets beat the Minnesota Vikings, and he will be full-on Super Bowl bound.
Oh, no doubt. I'll book tickets.
You're setting yourself up for the letdown of a century.
Oh, just
here,
wait.
buddy.
Don't worry. Jets are coming up. You're going to get your opportunity to throw shade at me all you want to. And they're situated in a very nice place that we'll have some nice elbow room for you to say whatever you want. And I, like a good slugger, just waiting on it to come across the plate, and I'm going to nug it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. New England Patriots, though, look, it's fine. This is an ugly team, though. I mean, I just look at the Patriots.
Well, I don't understand what anybody wants me to say. We beat the Jets twice. Watch the Jets. Mm-hmm. Watch the L.A. Chargers. Watch the Cincinnati Bengals, the Buffalo Bills, the Tennessee Titans. You don't look like that. Oh, we were close with Minnesota. Well, Minnesota's not that far ahead of you. So, I mean, I just look at the schedule.
You get the Bills on Thursday night.
Good luck with that. Josh Allen will carve you up like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Mm-hmm. And then you go Cardinals-Raiders on the road. You can win both those games.
You could win both of those games. I have a funny feeling you're going to lose one of them.
Could.
They're both on the road.
I don't think they're going to lose to the Raiders.
I don't know. This New England team is maddening. Just remember the Chicago Bears beat them like a kettle drum.
Right.
And then you go Bengals, Dolphins, Bills, who will all have things to play for. Good luck with that. You're not better than any of them. You're not in the class of any of them.
No, you got.
So, I mean, play that out. What is that? Let's say you win the games you're supposed to.
Yeah, 2 more wins on the schedule that puts you at 8 wins.
8-9. And you're not making the playoffs at 8-9.
No.
You're going to have to win 2 games that you're not supposed to make the playoffs. Might get lucky and it be 1. Mm-hmm. Because the Chargers are as infuriating as you are.
Is there anything? Is there like a nor'easter coming on Thursday or anything like that? The Bills have to worry about.
And by the way, hey Bill, stop running Damian Harris. Ramondre Stevenson's your best running back. Mm-hmm. I don't know why you're struggling to understand that. I really don't. It's rather obvious to me when I watch these two. And yet Bill can't help but be Bill. Everybody has to get touches. Every player. No.
Question I keep coming back to with New England is this good enough?
No.
Is this good enough for Bill?
To keep going?
To continue to be 8-win team. Hey, we're cute. We'll get into the playoffs, but we're going to get smoked. We're going to win some games we're not supposed to.
I have a bigger question. Patriot fans are not going to like that I'm asking it.
Okay.
How long does it take for Bill to figure out Bailey Zapp's better than Mac Jones? When you watch the tape, it's not close.
Okay.
Bailey Zapp makes some rookie mistakes. In terms of arm talent, it's not even debatable. But you have a first-round pick wrapped up in Mac.
Yeah, I don't.
Not everybody's the coach that Robert Saleh is. That felt good. I'm not gonna lie, that felt good. I set that up nicely.
Not everybody's got the stones to just go best player. It doesn't matter where we drafted you, what we have wrapped up into you. I admire that. I truly admire that, the ability of Rob Saleh to do that and go, I don't give a crap that we spent a number 2 pick on you. You're done. Mm-hmm. And we're moving on. You're the better league.
And look, there's a difference. The veteran for the Jets is 5 years in the league. Bailey Zapp's a rookie. But I could say what I wanted to say right here, which is I think Bailey Zapp would win 1 more game here than Mac Jones would. I also conversely have to say he would probably lose a game that Mac Jones probably wouldn't. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it may all even out in the wash. Long term, I think Bailey Zapp's your quarterback, not Mac Jones.
I would agree with that, but I could imagine this is going to be the injury thing.
He gets hurt.
This will be an injury to Mac Jones. Bailey will come in and do that.
And actually
Bailey
get a real run.
Time. Yeah,
a 4-game run, and he's good in 3 of the 4.
Yeah, and that's when the decision will be made that we just need to move on with Bailey Zappi, and we'll get something out of Mac Jones, but that's a year away.
Mac Jones is just so athletically limited. Mm-hmm. I mean, I genuinely, from an athletic standpoint, I'm not sure he's a step above you. And that's not a shot at you. Oh. You're not an NFL quarterback.
I was gonna say
he
thanks.
is.
I was going to say thanks. I appreciate that.
See, I have some genetic gifts that it means less when the 6'5", 240-pound guy says it.
Number 13 in the Week 13 Power Rankings.
The Washington Commanders.
Oh, eye roll. I don't like this team.
Which is funny because you like one of their most limited players.
The limited players.
Oh, I didn't hear a joke in that anywhere.
Oh, I fully did. Your derision of Antonio Gibson is not
3.5
well
yards
received.
a carry. 3.5 yards a carry. He's a much faster, more fun version of Brian Robinson. They're the same guy. One's just faster and flashier and fumbles more. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And I like him way better. Way better. But they continue to win games. And
they're doing it the way that you would expect a Ron Rivera team to do it. Defense. We're going to bleed the clock. They ran 37 times against the Falcons. Mm-hmm. And didn't do it really with any real success. I mean, he averaged 4.8 yards a carry. If you take that 21-yard run away by Brian Robinson, that goes down to just south of 4. Mm-hmm. That's not real. That's not really good. But it's working. And I'm going to say the same thing in reverse about the Commanders. You're doing things that nobody's playing all that well on the offense. I mean, McLaurin is a threat. I don't really understand what happened to Curtis Samuel. He's just non-existent in this offense all of a sudden because Jahan Dotson came back in here. I could argue I think the offense is actually better than they've played. The defense has sustained you. I'm going to say this as bluntly as I can. The Washington Commanders are going to make the playoffs.
You're probably right. They've got back-to-back games with the Giants coming up.
And I don't see a way that the Giants are going to beat them.
Mm-hmm. They play at the Giants this Sunday, then they get a bye week, and then they play the Giants at home.
And if you beat the Giants twice, you probably only need to get to 9-8, which is, you would already be there.
Mm-hmm. That'll make you 9-5 if you win the next two.
And hope you catch one of those games that don't really mean much.
Yeah, maybe. At the 49ers, don't like your chances.
No shot.
Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson coming back, yeah, closer. Cowboys, no, I don't give you much.
No, Deshaun Watson doesn't play defensive tackle, so I don't know that he's going to fix their problems, but he will certainly help.
Do what?
Deshaun Watson doesn't play defensive tackle, so he's not fixing the Browns' problems, but he will help.
That's true.
I guess it matters a lot less how people run on you if you can score markedly easier.
Absolutely it does. Taylor Heineke is, to me, he's a maddening quarterback.
Why?
Just because I don't see it. Like, I don't get it. I don't get what makes you good, but you're kind of good.
You do realize we've said that about 4 teams in a row, and probably 3 of them are going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. At worst, 2 of them will.
Oh, I understand.
That's forming a theory. That feels like a show that could happen. Maybe tomorrow.
What bad? What not good?
I have a theory on quarterbacks.
Teams that win with
I have a theory on quarterbacks.
Okay.
I went down a rabbit hole. Little year, you remember that year 2000 thing that Conan O'Brien used to do where he would look into the future?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did that. Only I unwound some previous decisions and forecast some in the future.
Ah.
I'll give you a little, well, this is what did happen, and this is what could have happened.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, live in the Ingles Studio. Week 13 Power Rankings roll on at number 12.
Go! Chargers, go!
The Los Angeles Chargers. See, this is why I do that thing with the Washington Commanders.
Because they're at 13 and the Chargers are at 12, and you go, they would smoke them like a honey ham.
100%.
Here's the problem. They keep not doing that.
That's true.
The Chargers play to whoever they are playing against. They should have lost to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Whose quarterback came out and said, schematically, we're bad word. You should have lost to that team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm going to make a comparison, and there are at least 2 fan bases that are really not going to like it. And I can't stop doing it.
Okay.
I'm starting to think that Justin Herbert is going to be the Dan Marino of his generation.
Ooh.
You put up ridiculous stats.
Mm-hmm.
Your arm is phenomenal. And you never win squirt.
I mean, I feel like it's early for that. Career maybe has the makings of it.
What's going to get better?
I mean, he's going to get a better coach.
And he's going to get a better deal, too. And then all of a sudden, you're Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Josh Palmer, baby! You get one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Eckler. And this is, I mean, just flat out, this is not a very good drafting team. There's a reason they went out free agency and spent aggressively, because they have boo-boo kiddied a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you look up and down the schedule. They've played 3 games all year that weren't one possession. One of them was them getting smoked by the Jaguars. One of them was them getting smoked by the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you beat the Texans. Whoop-de-doo. Everybody beats the Texans.
I get it.
They're the village punching bag. Everybody gets a shot to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you got your shot, and you move on.
Ask yourself this question. Would it shock you if they lost at the Raiders this week? Shock you. Just, oh, I can't believe that happened.
Do they defend the run well?
No.
Oh, and they're going up against the running back who just had 270-something yards?
It was a lot. It was 200 and a lot. I can't have me higher than this.
I would agree.
I think they are a talented team.
Mm-hmm.
It's just missing something. It's missing something. By the way, just I'm curious. The initial line: Chargers at Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Set the line.
Chargers minus 3.5.
You're too high.
2.5.
You're still too high.
1.5.
It's 2.
Oh, it's 2.
It's 2, which means they wouldn't even get a full touchdown in their own stadium.
Mm-hmm.
That should tell you about everything you need to know.
When your team is so talented, when you have all of the pieces, and I get that there's been injuries, everybody deals with injuries, we know that.
We have a lot of injury-prone players.
Yes.
Keenan Allen is a walking Band-Aid, and Mike Williams treats his body like he's a Crash Bandicoot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you throw in the other injuries that have tanked every season that they've had so far with Justin Herbert. You feel for him, really. But with all of the talent that you have, I feel like it's got to come back to coaching. Now, I said it was crazy at the beginning of the season to think that if this team doesn't make the playoffs, then Brandon Staley gets fired.
If the report is true that Sean Payton is targeting the Chargers and the Cardinals, I cannot fire Brandon Staley quick enough.
100%.
If he misses the playoffs, I cannot fire him quick enough.
And I have been on that side. Like, if Sean Payton is the guy, okay. But if we're just talking about somebody else picking up some new hotshot coordinator, I don't think so. But the way this season has gone, I just haven't seen the jump.
Has Justin Herbert gotten better?
No.
Weird. Think about the defensive coaches in the NFL that have highly drafted quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
How many have gotten better? I'll just go off the last 2 years off the top of my head. Has Zach Wilson got any better?
No.
Has Mac Jones got any better?
No.
Has Justin Fields got any better?
No.
There you go. I'll be honest with you. I think it's Brandon Staley. I always thought this was a weird fit. He had lunch with Sean McVay one time. And I'll be honest with you. What I'm going to say is going to sound absolutely insane. If I were the Chargers, I'm not telling you to cheat. I'm not telling you to do crimes. We often say on the show, don't do crimes.
Mm-hmm.
I would find a way for Sean McVay's agent to catch wind that we would like to have a chat.
Okay.
Oh, Sean McVay was the guru, right?
Mm-hmm.
That Rams team is done like dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I give up a first-round pick for Sean McVay.
Absolutely.
Who says no? Chargers miss the playoffs, have the 15th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Rams can get 15 for Sean McVay. Who says no?
It's not a bad thought.
There you go.
Not a bad thought. Number 11.
I started thinking that when I was watching Sean McVay after he got teetotaled by his own player, and nobody even stopped to check to see if he was okay. If I gave you an out of here option that wasn't TV, would you take it? And then immediately went, what if you just went across the hall?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe change that blue a little lighter shade?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Number 11.
The Baltimore Ravens.
It's a team that just can't win.
I want them to be better than they are.
They can't close out games.
I want this team to be better than they are.
I think we all do. I think we all look at, those of us who doubted Lamar Jackson so severely early on and then have come around to he is a really good quarterback in this league. You don't think so?
I think he's the most athletic human I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm. But you don't think he's a really good quarterback? I mean, I stopped short of saying elite.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
And if you come up with an answer, if you can convince me, I'll go with you. Name me the elite team in this league that would trade their quarterback straight up right now for Lamar Jackson.
Elite team.
Elite team. Team that's almost no doubt going to make the playoffs. Oh, I'll give you some examples. Miami Dolphins. No shot. The fact you even thought about that's comical to me.
Really?
If the MVP was voted on right now, Tua Tagovailoa would finish third.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they wouldn't think about it. And he's younger and cheaper.
Okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't think about it for a second. Buffalo Bills.
No.
Cincinnati Bengals.
No.
Kansas City Chiefs.
No.
Los Angeles Chargers.
No.
Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas
I
Cowboys.
feel like they would think about it. I feel like the Eagles would think about it.
Not even for a second.
Really? Okay.
Minnesota Vikings.
Kirk Cousins is getting older.
He's getting older, but I'm in a win now window. I'm the 2 seed in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
And we throw a lot.
Okay. All right. No.
That's kind of my point. You know who looks at Lamar Jackson and goes, oh, yeah, we would do that? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have absolutely nothing behind Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints. I put this out on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Who would chase Lamar Jackson if he was a free agent? I got
Bad team.
6 answers. I thought it would be 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get 20.
It would be bad team.
And there was a lot of, that's my team, and we wouldn't do that. Because I said that about Jalen Hurts, and Philadelphia vehemently told me I was wrong. No way. Look, I like Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
I like Lamar. I am not sure I $45 to $50 million like Lamar. And I cannot for the life of me figure out how he's supposed to be better when his salary doubles.
Right.
And the weapons around him get less.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't figure it out. And low-key, I think that's what Steve Bisciotti and what Eric DaCosta are doing behind closed doors. So what is going to change that makes this better? We're not disputing how talented Lamar is. There's been a slew of quarterbacks over the years that were really talented that never won anything. Randall Cunningham, he never won anything. Super talented. Jim Kelly, never won anything. Super talented. Some guys are Dan Fouts.
Okay. Denver Broncos would do it.
In a heartbeat.
In a
Let's
heartbeat.
ride!
And we'll get to see Lamar take on those Denver Broncos coming up this weekend. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
The Sportsocracy.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
Week 13 power rankings continue, and it's getting closer and closer to those top teams, the elite teams in the NFL. And
the teams at 9 and 10, I think, are the same team.
The same team?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to draw some parallels, so we'll do them at the same time.
Okay.
Number 10, the Minnesota Vikings. And number 9, the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, how are these the same? How are these guys the same after we just saw Dallas trounce them 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm. How you feel about your quarterback? They're both good, right?
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're not elite.
Yeah. I think one's closer than the other.
They have one receiver that I really like.
Yes.
Everything else doesn't really send me.
Yeah.
But they have a tight end that I like.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have that.
And they run the ball well.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Which team was I talking about right there?
Both of them.
There you go.
Yeah, it was both of them.
Oh, and we have a pass rusher that's really good. Zadarius Smith, Mike Parsons. Mm-hmm. The secondary leaves a lot to be desired.
Yep.
They're the same team.
Okay. I can see that.
You want to know why I can't get up in arms about the Dallas Cowboys. I'm really big into comparisons because invariably, every season that I've been doing this, I've been able to lump teams into the same bowl pretty much every season. Mm-hmm. And it's the one that's different that tends to be who ends up winning Super Bowls. The one that I can't find somebody that you're like. Mm-hmm. Don't worry, I'll keep doing this as we go along because there's one team that's different.
So Dallas, Minnesota, pretty much the same team. I mean, as you explain it, I can't say no. I do believe that Kirk Cousins is closer to the elite status than Dak Prescott.
I would agree with that.
But I also feel like Dak can do more with his legs than Kirk can. So that gives him an extra wrinkle that Kirk doesn't have. Yeah.
Ask yourself this. Where would these two teams be in the AFC? Put them in any division. I could care less.
6 and 7. I think they'd rank right on top of each other.
All right.
Yeah.
I had them at 7 and 8. But
okay. We're close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you greatly benefit that the NFC's awful, and you only have to play 4 games against the AFC per year. It's a grand advantage for you.
Okay. I could see it. Do we expect either of these teams to make a good push in the playoffs?
I actually see a path that they play each other. And one of them makes it to the NFC title game, and one of them doesn't.
We've already seen that once, and I
don't think it would go that way the second time.
Didn't like the way that turned out.
Dallas had a great day. Minnesota was awful. I'm not so sure I think that would happen again.
Can you get Kirk Cousins to turn the ball over 6 times again? I would be.
When does this game kick off? Is there a certain time frames where I think you could get Kirk Cousins?
Let's go 3 o'clock. Let's go 3 p.m. kickoff.
Can we play this game at 7 in the morning? Is that acceptable?
Can we catch Micah Parsons before he wakes up? That'd be a great time to play this game.
Look, they're both fine. I don't see a path. Minnesota with a rookie coach, Dallas with a coach that I do not believe in. Mm-hmm. I don't see any way that you're going to make legitimate noise because I do think there are 2 teams in the NFC that are better than you, and I don't really think it's all that close.
Right. They're both going to win a lot of games, though. You look at their schedules, and Minnesota's got the Jets next. I don't really like that much for them, but I think they can score against you.
It's in Minnesota. Set the line.
Minnesota minus 2.5.
That's exactly right.
They got a small little edge with the Mike White bump.
By the way, this is a Jets team that Vegas does not like.
With the Mike White bump, I mean,
there actually is a bump in Vegas with Mike White.
Yeah, anything's on the table right now.
Look, this is a statement game. For Minnesota, this will be the best defense you've beaten, and it's not all that close.
Mm-hmm. But the Vikings are sitting here at 9-2, and they still have at the Lions, the Colts, the Giants, and at the Bears. That's 4 more wins. I mean, you should be heavily favored. You should be heavily favored in those games, and I did not include at the Packers because I don't. That's just an.
It's a Lambeau Colt game,
right?
I get it.
Right, it's a weird one. Conversely, you look at the Dallas Cowboys and go, next up, Colts, Texans, Jaguars. And then the rest of the games are not that hard. But, I mean, hell, you're already at 8-3. Mm-hmm. It's 11 to possibly 12 wins still left.
The big difference to me, one of these teams is easily going to win their division. The other is not.
Right.
Which means you're on the road for the playoffs, and I don't really like Dallas on the road against any of the division winners that's not Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Or whoever wins the South.
Unless they have to go to Minnesota, and then they already did that in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Again, we know you don't think it'd go the same way again. I see if Dallas gets Odell Beckham Jr.,
it would certainly help.
How much more do you like the team?
It would certainly help, but after his little kerfuffle on the plane, I don't know that that's happening.
Yeah, but I didn't think there was anything untoward about that, or at least that we've heard of now.
According to him.
Right. We don't know. Could be still some things to come out about that. Who knows? But Odell Beckham Jr., he is odds on Dallas Cowboys are the favorite to land Odell. And I feel like if that happens, then this team takes another step forward, and they're going to be held to play with it in the playoffs.
I'm not worried about either one of them.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville Sports Center update coming up next, and then we'll get into the top 8. Still haven't heard from the Jets yet. Weird.
No, you haven't.
He's a degenerate gambler,
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
and he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
It is the Sportsocracy here in the Ingles Studio on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We're heard everywhere around the world, live or on demand on the iHeartRadio app. You can also take us with you everywhere you go on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link, subscribe to the channel. You can join us in the chat, get those alerts every time that we are live here in the Ingles Studio. And the Week 13 Power Rankings continue here. And, okay, I guess it's time to let Jeremy have his fun.
Number 8.
Yeah.
The New York Jets, Jets.
Oh, Mike White came in and played the savior this past week as they beat the Bears 31-10, and now the Jets are back in the top 10. Yay.
Well, they weren't far off of it in the first place. You're all missing the point.
Okay, what's the point?
Have you ever heard the stat turnover-worthy passes?
Yes.
It's a percentage.
Yes.
Do you know what a good percentage is? About 2.5.
Okay.
Anything under 2.5 is pretty good.
Okay.
In the year of 2021, the last full year, obviously, that we had, the worst 3 quarterbacks in the NFL for turnover-worthy play rate were Tua Tagovailoa, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Ben Roethlisberger. The bottom 2 were 4.6. Tua was 4.8. Do you know what Zach Wilson's turnover-worthy play rate was in 2022?
7.9.
12.8.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Now, but Mike White threw 4 interceptions against the Colts. Do you know how many turnover-worthy passes he threw in that game?
How many?
4. That's 100% conversion rate. The average quarterback in the NFL is about 15. If Zach Wilson had 100% interception rate on turnover-worthy passes, he'd have thrown 40. That regresses to the mean, people. And I can't emphasize this enough. If you don't see the difference between Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, and Braxton Berrios, Jeff, and Vincent Smith, I cannot help you. I physically cannot help you if you don't see the difference. There's also the problem of the defense. When Mike White threw 4 interceptions, it was the worst defense in the NFL. Not close. Most points, most yards per play, whatever metric you wanted, it's the worst defense in the NFL. What does that lead to? Quarterback feels like they have to what?
Do more.
Do more.
Yeah.
That's not a problem now. That's not a problem now. I'm not saying, look, I had a lot of fun yesterday. I'm not telling you Mike White is a great quarterback.
Okay.
I'm telling you he's a veteran quarterback. He is, I do not remember who said this. I would totally give them the credit for it. He is the store brand version of Jimmy Garoppolo. That's all I want you to be.
I want you to be the game manager.
I don't need you to be anything else.
Yep.
I need you to get the ball out of your hand on time. I need you to keep the offense from being behind the chains. Because that's when bad things happen. when you get into 2nd and 9+, 3rd and 7+, historically, your turnover rate triples. Stay on schedule. That's it. Understand, a punt's fine. I don't care. You got a front four that's getting after the quarterback at a really high level. You got a back half that I would argue your 2 corners are the best tandem in the NFL. I don't need you to be anything more than that. I need you to not be Zach Wilson, who was an immature child and really started corrupting the locker room. And he was still 5-2.
Yeah. Wasn't anything to me. It wasn't anything that Zach Wilson did to make them 5-2.
That's the point,
right?
You were 5-2 with Joe Falco and Zach Wilson. I don't need you to be special. I don't need that. Think back to the Green Bay game. Zach Wilson didn't do anything. I don't need you to. I need you to be a threat that opens running lanes. Do you find it ironic that the Jets couldn't run into a wall against the New England Patriots? Ran just fine against the Bears. Well, but the Bears. You mean the Bears that ran all over New England? Transitive property. It's fun when you use it that way.
Right.
I'm telling you, this team's good.
They are good.
This team's good. This team believes in themselves. And I think Mike White can be the store brand version of Jimmy Garoppolo. And if he is, this is going to be a really, really difficult team to knock out.
They're going to give everybody fits. They're already a team that gives everybody fits. It's just, that 10-3 game against the New England Patriots, you had reached a point of no return.
But here's the thing that people forget. This Minnesota Vikings team that I'm supposed to be so scared of, and gave up 400 yards passing to Mac Jones. Didn't really have that success against the Jets, did he?
No.
And nobody does. But Trevor Siemian threw a touchdown pass in the first quarter. Yeah, what'd he do after that? What'd he do after that? Oh, okay. You can call me a homer if you want to. Ask yourself this question. Think of your favorite team. Do you want to play this team?
Hell no.
There you go.
I don't think anybody does.
There you go.
From the Kansas City Chiefs on down, nobody wants to play this team because the defense is that terrifying. And the offense can be. When Garrett Wilson is going, holy cow. I almost cussed again. That's almost twice you got me in this segment.
I said I would get you in this. I told him I have a stat that's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, and you almost got me. I almost forgot that we weren't solely on YouTube on that one. But I still look at this team and I wonder.
I'm not telling you they're a Super Bowl contender. I'm not saying that.
And I get it, but I do think you're a playoff team.
I do too.
And when you get into the playoffs, if you get into the playoffs, I know that's still a question. Who can you beat?
I'm going to use a line that you love to use. They can beat anybody. They can lose to anybody, too. And that's the thing. I don't care. I want you to get in. I want you to have the experience. How many teams have we watched do this? We watched the Buffalo Bills do it. You incrementally get further along as time goes along. That playoff experience is invaluable. It is 100% invaluable. And looking at the schedule, if you go back down the line, you don't see many teams that have beaten the Jets that really hang their hat on offense.
No.
And before you throw the Bengals at me, that was with Joe Flacco. And that was a markedly different defense than you're seeing right now. If your goal is to outscore me, you're not going to like how this goes. Because my offense is passable enough that I'm going to score some points. As long as Mike White is on the field. Or even Joe Flacco. If Mike White gets abducted by aliens, let's go back to Flacco.
Right. We know we're not going back to Zach. It's good to see Bam Knight NC State getting some run this weekend with the Jets.
Dog. Oh, by the way, the other stat that I had to throw out there, would you like to hear the list of times that the Jets have given up more than 20 points since the first 3 weeks?
Yes.
Oh, would you like to hear it again?
Oh.
Okay. I need to score 3 touchdowns a week. And that's Robert Saleh's philosophy. And I think they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Call me a homer if you want to.
You still got winnable games on the schedule.
Lions, Jaguars, Seahawks, Vikings.
Look, I just need 3. I just need 3.
I need to beat 3 teams that I think I'm better than.
Yes, you're 10-4 or 10-7 at the end of the season. You're probably getting into the playoffs. It may be a coin flip, but you steal one of these that you're not supposed to. I'm not ruling out any of them.
There you go.
I'm not ruling out the Bills game. I'm not ruling out the Vikings. I'm not ruling out the
Well, I mean, you've already
Dolphins.
beat Josh Wilson once. Or Josh Allen once,
Josh
excuse me. Zach Wilson's name it's living rent-free in my head.
And it's going to. It's going to until he's out of town. This is a team with a lot of hope. A lot of hope, and it only got better.
And see, for me, the hope is all years in the future. You're all of these other teams we've talked about that are ahead of schedule, you're them on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
But now play with the house money. I have always said, a team with nothing to lose is as dangerous of a team as you can play. The Buffalo Bills, they could be tight. They're supposed to win. They're supposed to be in the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs, same thing. Cincinnati Bengals, same thing.
Yep.
Tennessee Titans, same thing. Jets are playing with house money. Desperate teams do desperate things. Teams that have no expectation, that's a wild card.
Number 7.
The Tennessee Titans.
Man, they're nasty. They are just nasty. It's the best description that I could come up for with this team.
They ugly up football better than any team in the NFL.
They do. And they're also one of those teams. They could lose to anybody, and they could beat anybody.
I'm not so sure that they can lose to anybody.
Well, I mean, they can't lose to the Texans. At least I don't feel they can. Sorry, guys. That was kiss of death. Now you're going to lose to the Texans.
The thing there's one thing that really, at its root, bothers me about the Titans.
Okay.
It's like Derrick Henry's yard per carry in the last 3 games.
Yes.
2.8, 3.1, 2.2. That's not bad. That's horror awful. Now, before that, it was 6'8", 6'8", 5'2". You played 2-ish good defenses. They're not scared of you. Traylon Burks, we know he's good. Is he going to beat us by himself? The Cincinnati Bengals sold out to stop Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill wants to beat us? More power to you. And I feel like the more and more teams do that, Ryan Tannehill at some point is going to have to jump up and go, I can beat you. I can beat a good team. Not Green Bay, not Denver, not Houston, not Indy, not Washington, not Indianapolis, not Las Vegas. That's all of their wins.
And I don't know that he has that capability. I don't know that he has the ability
if Derrick Henry's not going, and I mean, think about this. How many teams that are going to be contenders in the AFC don't have the ability? I'm not saying that he couldn't have a good game against them. Don't have the ability to stop the run. Buffalo at full strength. Kansas City with Chris Jones. Cincinnati just did it. And I feel like if you turn Tennessee one-dimensional, they become exponentially less of a team. But now the flip side of that is that Cincinnati just did that. I believe greatly in Cincinnati, and you hung with them. It's a team that doesn't make a ton of sense. But the defense is good. They're well coached. The culture is there. You're going to need a break or two.
Yeah.
And you need Derrick Henry to be everything that he can be and more.
See, to me, the team does make sense. I just think they're extremely limited by their quarterback. But here's the thing. I don't know that this team would be all that much better if you said what teams would go out and try to get a Lamar Jackson. Okay, maybe not Lamar specifically, but in that realm. If Tennessee went and got that guy, how much different would they be?
So that's
I don't feel like they would be all that
I
different.
don't either.
I really don't.
I feel like Ryan Tannehill is built for this team.
Yes.
They have a ceiling that they would not necessarily have with say, Lamar.
Yeah. And maybe they could.
But they have a safe floor, too.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
The other thing that's making me nervous, what's that rule I've always told you about running backs? How many?
When you hit the thresholds, yeah.
1,500 touches. How many is Derrick Henry sitting at? Almost 1,800.
Mm-hmm.
Because 2,000 is usually where you fall off the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the window is short.
The window is short, but here's the thing. We've seen Derrick Henry do this before.
No doubt. He's a freak of nature.
And what happens when, the calendar turns to December and the cold sets in?
Derrick Henry loves it when it snows.
Exactly. Derrick Henry gets better as the season goes on, historically speaking. So I feel like this is a blip in his production, and then he is going to turn it on at the end of the season here. And here's the thing: we've seen Derrick Henry be bad the last few games, but Ryan Tannehill has been much better than he was.
Yes.
If you can put those two things together at the same
then
time,
you can beat anybody.
Exactly.
And this is not an offense that teams are geared to stop.
Mm-hmm. Remember last year when Derrick Henry got hurt toward the end of the season, they had to do that whole stretch without him, and then he came back for the playoffs. It felt like that was one of the reasons that they lost to the Bengals, because they did not have that time to get reacclimated together. Well, now you do. Now you've got time to build that, and, should everybody stay healthy? I think all bets are off.
And you should go in pretty healthy, because you're going to have this division locked up for much longer.
Absolutely. You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Top 6 begins next.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Back in the Ingles Studio on ESPN Asheville. Week 13 Power Rankings. Number 6.
The Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, man, this team is going to be just uber terrifying when Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon come back.
I want to have them higher.
You can't.
I can't physically find a way to have them higher.
You can't have them higher just yet. Now, stay with me here. Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. Then you can have them higher. You get a win in that game, then we can move them higher.
The 4 o'clock window this weekend is going to be just chock full of bangers. Between this, the Dolphins, and the 49ers, that's 2 matchups of 4 of the 6 highest-rated teams in the NFL, according to us.
Mm-hmm. Cincinnati Bengals, like I said yesterday, getting the win over the Tennessee Titans to me was huge.
Absolutely was. And to show that you can impose your will defensively on a good team.
Yes.
I'm not just trying to shoot out with you. I got Joe Burrow and Higgins and Chase, and no. I like seeing teams win more than one way.
Mm-hmm.
And I've now seen that.
Yeah, and you've got all the pieces. They have all the pieces. We saw it last year, making the run to the Super Bowl, winning the AFC Championship. Nobody expected it to happen, and I feel like nobody expected it to happen again this year. But they're still in the hunt.
It started off clunky, but I think you're seeing the growth. The offensive line is getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I still wish Jonah Williams was a guard. But
it is what it is.
It is what it is. But, I mean, this team has talent. And I don't understand what happens to Zach Taylor as a year goes on. He becomes a smarter coach as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why that is. The play calling looks different. Schematically, this team looks different. And this is without your best player.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati is a terrifying team to me.
If the defense can
keep a corner healthy.
Right.
Having to play the Kansas City Chiefs without Awuzie, it's not something I'm really excited about.
How many big offenses have they held in check this year?
And I don't know that
It's one.
I was about to say, I don't think you can call Tennessee a big offense.
No, they're not. That's what I'm saying. Is like,
but it's a good offense. It doesn't put up ridiculous numbers, but it's a good offense.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but
I mean, you held the Dolphins in check. I get that was without Tua for almost 3 full quarters of it.
And that's the one. That's the one. You gave up 30 points to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, I mean, you're about to find out.
A warning sign. Exactly.
Because you still play the Chiefs. You got the Browns with Deshaun Watson in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And your
You
Bucks.
got the Bills. You can skip them. You can skip the Bucks. It's fine. We know they're not a good offense.
I was going to chuck the Patriots and the Bucks. The Tom Brady teams. We just put them together.
Right.
They just ride together. Hold hands. Skip to the door.
Because we are going to get smoked like a honey ham.
Oh, no doubt.
No
I mean,
problem.
Cincinnati is going to be tested.
Yes.
And you know what? I look around that division. Cleveland is so far back. And I don't think Baltimore's better than you are.
No, they're not. As much as I wanted them to be, they're not. The Bengals are the class of this division, and I think they will be for years to come.
I also want to ask the NFL, when you flex games, this week you could have flexed the Chiefs at the Bengals or the Dolphins at the 49ers, and you chose the Colts at the Cowboys.
But why?
I have absolutely no idea.
Makes no
There's your
sense.
2 primetime games, Sunday night, Monday night. Colts, Cowboys, Saints, Bucks.
Somebody needs to be fired. Whoever's responsible for making that decision.
Well, I mean, the good thing for me is that if the Jets beat the Vikings, I'll be 37 domestic lights in.
And you won't care.
And now the bad part is if the Jets lose to the Vikings, I will be 37 domestic lights in, and I won't care.
I think you'll care markedly more. Because you'll need something to bitch about other than the game. Because you will have done that for 4 hours by that point.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking to people that may or may not even be there.
At number 5.
The San Francisco 49ers.
I still don't know what to make of this offense. Because
In what regard?
I don't know. I feel like with all of these stars, you should be doing more. I get that this weekend was a complete shutout. It was just a demolition of the New Orleans Saints. I understand. And I understand that that's a good defense. Mm-hmm. But I still feel like with the weapons that you have at your disposal, you should be doing more. And it concerns me when you're going into the playoffs and you're going to have to eventually shoot out with somebody.
I mean, we've seen them put up points. All right, so ask yourself this question. What team in the NFC are you legitimately worried about them shooting out with?
I don't know. You're gonna have to score against the Dallas Cowboys. You're gonna have to score against the Minnesota Vikings.
I am not worried about the Dallas Cowboys.
You're gonna have to score with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Philadelphia, I get it. I was not overly concerned about it. I mean, look, and maybe it's because I pull for a team that runs this system.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people get lost in the minutia and not what this is actually meant to do. The beauty of and look, I firmly believe Kyle Shanahan is the smartest offensive mind in the NFL, and I'm not sure it's all that close.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing this run 3 completely different ways. You got one team that's got weapons, good weapons, very good weapons, average quarterback. Another that has good young weapons. I don't quite know how great they are. I know one of them's pretty good. And future Hall of Famer Mike White at quarterback.
Oh, God.
And then you've got Miami that has a quarterback that I think is good. He's played well and got high-level weapons. Mm-hmm. Well, the third one is putting up video game numbers. The other 2 aren't, and I don't know that they ever will. They don't have to. They're built on defense. Mm-hmm. Because the one commonality between the Jets and the 49ers is the one thing the Dolphins can't do. They can't play dead in the Western on defense.
True.
Their goal is to shoot out with you. Mm-hmm. They want to do that. The other 2 don't. I mean, Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan and DeMeco Ryans are perfectly happy beating you 13-3. Mm-hmm. We'll walk away and go, win's a win. Enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. And I'm fine with that.
Again.
There are just so few good teams that can play defense.
Again, can't wait to find out. Because they're going to play the Miami Dolphins this weekend.
And to me, that's the game of the weekend.
I would agree.
That's the game of the weekend. Kansas City, Cincinnati's close.
Mm-hmm.
A, I've seen that. B, I don't really think it's going to tell me anything. San Francisco, Miami is going to tell me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see Tua up against a legitimate big boy defense. And I'm going to see Jimmy Garoppolo against a team that can score points at will.
Mm-hmm. And can he do it? Can he hang with them? Is the big question. And I know they can. I know you can. I know it's physically there. You got CMC and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. And I know Jimmy Garoppolo's got the arm. I just don't see it every week. And it's maddening to me because I know you're capable of it and you're not doing it. Like that game against the New Orleans Saints to me should have been 33-0.
Yeah, and you're looking for style points.
I am.
In a league that doesn't do that.
I'm looking for style points. Absolutely. That's the kind of fan I am.
Set the line. Dolphins at 49ers.
Dolphins at the 49ers. 49ers -3.
And a half.
Oh, they got the hook. Nice.
That's a bigger deal than people let on. That's really telling you that Vegas wants you to take Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a funny feeling I'm going to side with Vegas on this one.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
I think I am. I think I'm going to lay. I think I'm going to give the 3.5 and take San Francisco.
Oh, I am. That's what
I have a funny feeling. And you call me crazy. The number is really low. It's 46.5.
Mm-hmm.
If you're telling me this turns into a slugfest, Miami showed up to a gunfight with a stick because they do not have a defense that can deal with that.
I agree.
This was one of those games that I said when I see the over/under, I will be able to tell you what Vegas thinks is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And based on what I'm looking at, they think San Francisco is going to hammer them. They want you to bet the 3 and the hook, which means they think San Francisco is going to win this comfortably. I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's interesting to see Vegas's mindset play out in front of you.
Yes, indeed it is. The San Francisco 49ers, the number 5 team in the NFL in the Week 13 power rankings, they do have the ability to put up a lot of points. Sadly, Elijah Mitchell looks like he's done with the sprained MCL.
6 to 8 weeks.
Ugh.
Could come back for maybe a Super Bowl run. Maybe back in time for the playoffs, but not likely.
But you got CMC, so you're okay. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
The Sportsocracy.
Let's open up the whole can and kick ass and kill them all. Let the paramedics sort them out.
Getting down to the nitty-gritty in the Week 13 power rankings, we are down to number 4.
The Miami Dolphins.
Oh, the Dolphins. Man, it is good to see Tua Tagovailoa playing the way he's playing. Being in the MVP discussion. You know me, I've been on the Tua bandwagon since he came into the league. Like, he is better than he has shown. Well, shocker of shockers, you put him with elite weapons, and look what's happened. He's putting up big numbers. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, that's a terrifying offense. You add in Jeff Wilson Jr., and it becomes a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, but
what?
How many bad defenses can you play in a row?
Yeah.
The Steelers without TJ Watt, bad defense.
Mm-hmm.
Lions, historically bad defense.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Bears, bad defense. Cleveland Browns, Houston Texans, bad defense.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see you do this to a legitimate team. I want to see you go air raid greatest show on turf against an actual honest-to-God defense. And I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't think you can.
You don't think they can?
I don't think you can. And my curiosity is when you can't score 30 points, can you win? San Francisco is going to be a great case study on this. That's not in any way what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
They want to sludge this out in pre-snap motion, and guess what? They know everything you're going to do before you do it. I don't know what it is about Miami that's bothering me so bad. I feel like you have to have them here. You've won 5 games in a row against 5 of the 10 worst teams in the NFL. Woo. I saw you get destroyed by the Jets. I saw you get destroyed by the Bengals. But that was without Tua. I'm well aware of that. But I can only go by what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't play against anybody that was any good. We beat New England. Oh, yeah, case in point. Early in the season, for one.
You beat the Bills.
In a game that you got absolutely demolished in.
Mm-hmm.
They just turned the ball over.
Yep.
And I'm looking at a date 3 weeks from now going, I don't think that they're doing the Ralph Wiggum thing. You're in danger. I mean, would it shock you if they lost the next 3 games?
No.
At the 49ers, at the Chargers, at the Bills?
No, it would not.
And I feel like that's where you go.
Would surprise me a bit because Chargers don't play good defense. It's a bad defense.
No, but they can shoot out with you.
Yeah.
They can shoot out with you. This is a team that's beaten 2. I mean, conversely, they've beaten 2 good offenses too. And you know what it took? One of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen, and one of the only times I've ever seen a team doubled up in yardage and still win.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of very fluky luck. I'm not as dead sold on this team. This is where I have to have them. And they could prove me super wrong.
Yep.
If they come out of this 3-game stretch 2-1, and you're looking at a team at that point that's, 10-4? Okay.
Yeah, you're for real.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you have proven absolutely nothing to me up until this point. You have proven to me that with 2 of the 10 best receivers in the NFL, you can smoke awful teams.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that and $1 will get you? A Coke.
I also want to see you. I want to see you do it in the regular season, and I want to see you win a playoff game.
Now, I'm not sitting here telling you that it can't happen. I just haven't seen it.
Right.
I just haven't seen it. This Tua's the MVP. Okay, let's beat a team that we're talking about being in the play. Not even playoff teams. Just somebody that still shows up on the screen as in the hunt would be nice.
Right.
Before we talk about Tua being the MVP.
You have not done that in this 5-game win streak. And that's the other thing that kills me about Miami. The last few years, they are the streakiest friggin' team out there.
Ever.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, they will lose.
They did this last year.
They won 7 in a row last year.
They did this last year against a string of bad teams, and it convinced everybody the defense is elite.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is not. And it is a far stretch from it.
Much worse than they looked last year.
No doubt. Xavier Howard, I think he left his talent in a duffel bag or something, and somebody stole it.
Quite possibly. Miami is a team that I've been waiting to see them make that jump. It's been good so far.
Mm-hmm.
But this next stretch of games...
You can score points. I never doubted that you could score points.
Right. This next stretch of games is going to tell us if you're an actual contender or if you're just a pretender. At number 3.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, there you go. Philadelphia Eagles, 10-1 on the season. And again, this is another team. Like, you play great defense.
Against bad teams.
Against bad teams.
Yeah, you can really shut down bad teams.
But I want to see what you can do.
Are you unnerved at all that they gave up 33 points to a Green Bay team that hasn't been able to score on anybody?
Yes. Yes, I am.
And it seems like there's something like that every week with Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this team. I said this is a team that'd probably go 14-3. I really dislike Nick Sirianni too. There's something about this frat boy, I am who I am, whether you like it or not, that Shut up.
Shut up.
Vinny from the docks, go do something. I heard him on McAfee and went, oh, you're just the most insufferable type of human that there is.
Mm-hmm.
And look, you're the best team in the NFC, and I don't particularly think it's all that. I mean, it's you in San Francisco,
right.
And then a huge drop off.
And here is my problem. We've only seen them really shut down one good offensive team in the Minnesota Vikings. That was the second week of the season. I some people will say Dallas, but I don't put Dallas into that category as much. I don't feel like they're an elite offensive team.
I don't know.
You don't have you can't show me that before the playoffs. You probably can't show that to me before the Super Bowl.
I mean, and there's something to be said for that. Will we only have to do it once?
So huzzah, Philadelphia Eagles! You can go through the playoffs and all, and have good performances against okay offenses. But you get into the Super Bowl and get smoked, that's going to be a problem.
I'm going to make a sweeping declaration because this is exactly how I feel like the rest of the season goes. And it's the reason I've had the power rankings be pretty consistent in this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Philadelphia gets to the NFC relatively easily. They're the one, play one game at the link against a lesser NFC team, whether it's Dallas, Tampa Bay, whoever it is. You get out of that easy. In a walk, A.J. Brown has a big day.
Mm-hmm.
You win close-ish against San Francisco. You wind up in the Super Bowl, and you get your lunchbox eaten.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly how I think this goes. Because I have this funny feeling that you're going to rest on this laurel of how good this defense is, and you're doing it against the Bears and the Giants and the Texans and the Colts and the Packers and the Steelers. And then you see a real-life big boy offense, and they blow your doors off. That's how I think this goes. I've been wrong before.
It could possibly go down that way. And the two teams that I would be most afraid that you're going to end up in the Super Bowl against, we'll talk about
them momentarily.
That's right. Coming up next, the top two here on ESPN Asheville. You are in the Sportsocracy. It is the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, and it's two teams to go in the Week 13 Power Rankings. You know who they are. Number 2.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills, yes. Look, they're 8-3. They've lost 2 more games than we thought they were going to lose this year.
Yeah, and they're all 3 to teams that are in the top 10, and they shouldn't have lost at least 2 of them.
Yes, shouldn't have lost that Dolphins game.
Shouldn't have lost that Vikings game.
You outgained
Frankly,
them.
Shouldn't have lost that Jets game, if I'm being really honest.
Yeah, well, the turnovers have killed them in both of those games. And, well, all 3 of those games, actually. And I'm waiting to see when it's going to happen again, but you can't live that way. You got to look at what's in front of you, and I look at their schedule, and I go, Buffalo Bills, they're favorites in every damn game the rest of the season.
As well they should be.
And, I mean, what is the key for them going down the stretch here?
Stop turning the ball over so much.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, here's the thing that anybody says, well, you're just sticking to what you said in the preseason. Okay. Allow me to ask a question. How much worse can the Buffalo Bills be than the team with the most turnovers in the NFL? You think they're just going to set a high water mark? Because there's currently one team in the NFL that's turned the ball over more than they have.
Really?
It's the Saints.
Oh, okay.
Who are god-awful. They also force a lot of turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
That mitigates a lot of this. Turnover luck, we talked about this with a couple teams earlier, tends to be pretty cyclical. They don't turn the ball over, they're 11-0. Mm-hmm. They have outplayed every team that they have. Every game that they have played this year, they have outplayed the team they played.
Yes.
Fact or fiction?
Yes, fact.
There you go. I want to have them at 1. I really do.
But you also play these really close games, like, you had a 3-point game with the Lions over the weekend. And that
Okay,
didn't
and
do
ask
anything to
yourself
make you
this.
feel good.
That didn't concern me in the least. A, you're on the road. B, you're playing on a short week after you were displaced out of your own stadium the week before.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of teams that lost that game. Buffalo didn't.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I still have Josh Allen. I still have Stephon Diggs. There's no quarterback and there's no receiver in the NFL that I would rather have. And I have a defense that's ferocious. I hope Von Miller can come back for the playoffs because I do think that could be a legitimate game changer. If you don't have him against Kansas City, I'm not sure you're better than them.
Mm-hmm.
And you get into the shootout, you need somebody that can get after the quarterback. I mean, and they have guys.
Right.
I need the guy.
Right. It's funny you bring them up because I'm not real positive. I would have been with you at the beginning of the year with the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs thing. Now I'm not thinking that it's not the team at number one. It's not Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Number one,
the Kansas City Chiefs.
I don't know how you defend it. I don't know how you expect to stop it. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are just the match made in heaven.
I do find it funny that everybody talks about how the Bills play close games.
Mm-hmm.
You realize the Chiefs do too, right?
Absolutely.
I never hear anybody say that. Well, they play close. They've played close with practically every team they played.
Mm-hmm.
If you take away the NFC West, they've literally played close with every team they've played.
Yes.
This is one of those misnomers, and I don't know if this happens because of college football. I don't know what it is. Rare is the day that you just blow the doors off somebody in the NFL. There's a reason that you see 40-point spreads in college football, and you never see one higher than 14 in the NFL.
Right.
There's a reason for that. And you use this a lot, and it's the more we go along, the more it starts to irk me. Style points. Well, you don't win with style. Okay, who does? Who does win with style? Because now we've gone through 32 teams in the NFL. You tell me which one of these teams wins with pizzazz. Because there's nobody in the top 5, I can tell you that much.
Right. There are teams that have those games. Miami.
Have them every once in a while.
Miami's had a game or two like that.
Everybody's.
The
Buffalo's had a
Dallas
game
Cowboys. Yeah. I get it.
Nobody wins with style in the NFL every week.
Mm-hmm.
Just is what it is.
Absolutely.
You win games. Survive and advance.
Mm-hmm.
That is the name of the game. Good teams do it. Bad teams don't.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, if you can prove to me, even really give me a legitimate argument for anybody that you would take against Kansas City right now, and anybody that you would take against Buffalo that's not Kansas City, I'm open to hearing it. I haven't seen it. I watch every team in the NFL. I break down all 22 tape. I've seen them all. And I can't, Jimmy's and Joe's, find any team that's better than these two. I think Philadelphia's close.
The concern continues to be, for me, the Kansas City Chiefs defense, but the defense has improved the last few weeks.
No doubt.
So they're rounding into more of a full team form. And I still feel like there's not really a discussion. There's not really a discussion for me in the top 3. It has been, will always be, for the rest of this season, Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, Philadelphia Eagles.
I'll go one step further. There's not really a discussion for me in the top 5. That was the first 5 teams I put in.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think a second thing about it. The only one that was close was 49ers Dolphins, and the Dolphins have been more impressive up to this point. They play this week.
Right.
So I went, you know what? If I get that wrong, I'll adjust it next week.
We'll figure it out next week. Indeed.
Everything else is as cut and dry as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you look at how this is broken down, I feel like there's a separation from 5 to 6. The 49ers to the Bengals.
Okay.
I then feel like there's a separation from about 12 to 13. Chargers to the Commanders.
Yep.
And then practically everybody after 16, is bad. You're just varying degrees of bad.
Yes.
Falcons down. There's bad, and then there's bad, and then there's bad. Mm-hmm. So one of the weirdest years I think I've ever seen in the NFL. There's just such a clear delineation between the haves and the have-nots.
Yep. You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Week 13 Power Rankings in the books. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.